first speech at Rhino? Good majority of us, I feel, 60, 70%. How many of you received advice on how to give an evaluation before you gave your first evaluation? I shouldn't be raising my hand because it's not true for me. Karen did, great, and maybe Jonathan. Awesome, so seems like not as many people. Tonight I'm here to remedy that problem and help you all learn how to give effective evaluations. Because giving feedback is one of the pillars of communication, not just in public speaking, in these four walls at Rhino, but throughout your life, really. In your work life, in your personal life, being able to, give constructive criticism or break down what someone's doing really well and then emulate it later, that's a really important skill. And so tonight we're going to examine it. I'm going to take you behind the screen with the Scott Brown method of giving and delivering evaluations. So let us begin. It's a four-step method. The first step is prepare. Step number one. Before you actually give an evaluation, you need to understand the subject matter that you're evaluating. Seems pretty obvious, but very few of us actually go out and do extracurricular research into public speaking, which I encourage all of you to do. Go to YouTube and find World Championship Toastmaster speeches. Find TED Talks. Find speeches from Martin Luther King Jr., Barack Obama, or Tony Robbins, or anybody that inspires you and you think is a really good orator. Watch stand-up comedy sets. Take notes, right? Actually sit down for like an hour with a notepad and look at what these people are doing. Pay attention to what they're doing with their body, what they're doing with eye contact, their energy, how they're reacting to the audience's energy. Your objective is not just to observe these things, but to be able to understand them and then articulate them to other people. Because you're going to need to do that when you give an evaluation. You want to take time and build a database of public speaking tips and techniques in your own mind. So study public speakers, see what they're doing, and try your best to just understand it on your own. You can also read books about public speaking techniques and how to break it down and stuff, but I think it's better just to watch it and see how it feels, and then come to your own understanding about it. So do that with YouTube. All of you spend 10 hours a month in this room, hoping that it'll make you a better communicator. 30 minutes on YouTube watching Martin Luther King Jr. speak is well worth the investment in time to make you a better communicator, trust me. That's step one, prepare. After you do that, you're going to come into this room, you're going to talk to the speaker that's going to be giving a speech, you're going to ask them what their purpose is, yada yada. You're going to sit down, you're going to have 2 sheets of paper and a pen, and you're going to put those things on the desk in front of you, and you're going to pretty much ignore them as the speaker gives his speech. Because step 2 is listen. And this is the hardest step, because your brain doesn't want to listen. Your brain wants to filter what the speaker is saying and look for things that you can write down and use in your evaluation. Your brain is not thinking about the speech, your brain is thinking about your evaluation 10 minutes from now. And you need to tell your brain to shut up and focus on the speech. So I have 2 pieces of paper. On the first one, I do take notes, but they're very minimal. I'll take about 3 words per minute of the speech. I just took notes for Shrishti's speech, and I have 22 words on here for a 7-minute speech. It's about 3 words a minute. I usually just write 1 sentence down for every little bit of the speech so that I can remember it later. I'm not focusing on judging it or evaluating or anything. I'm just writing down words as a catch for me so that later when I do take my real notes, I remember what the speech was about. So for this one, I just have Peru, and then a line and an arrow that says sea lions. That was the opening Shrishti speech. That's all I wrote. So step 2 is just listen. Turn your brain off, let the speech impact you emotionally, keep all of your mental energy on retaining that emotional context of the speech. Then step 3 is organize. And that's when you actually start writing. So what I do is I grab my second sheet of paper, and the first thing that I do is I ask myself, what was the purpose of the speech? Because everything that you say in your evaluation needs to be revolving around what the purpose of the speech was. Every speech has a purpose. It's either to inspire you to action, or to persuade you of something, to motivate you, to entertain you, could be another purpose, but every speech has one. So write that down in the middle, purpose. That's how I write my essays. Once you've done that, what I would suggest that you do is break the sheet up into quadrants, and this will help you organize your thoughts. The way that I organize my quadrants is everything on top of this line is stuff that I thought was really good. Everything below it, I write a little delta for change, areas that could be improved, right? So good stuff on the top half, ways that we could improve on the bottom half. On the left side, things that pertain to the speech as it is written, the structure, the body of the speech, the content, what's there on the piece of paper. That stuff goes on the left side. The right side is all about performance. Eye contact, body language, voice, tone, energy, all that stuff goes on the right side. So it's useful to break up your notes into these kinds of quadrants, because that will help you understand what you should be talking about when you give your evaluation. That's what the organizing step is about. You can see these are the notes that I took for Srishti originally when I was listening to her speech. So it's very scant, there's only 22 words there. And this is a little organizing graph that I made afterwards. There's more than 100 words on there. And you can see that like some of these quadrants have more stuff in them than others. And it's going to be different depending on whose speech you're evaluating and what they said. The thing about this map is that it helps you form a narrative, right? Srishti, and I'm not going to give her a whole evaluation, but this graph of hers, the top left quadrant and the bottom right quadrant are very heavily filled in, and the other two quadrants not so much. So you can already tell, just based on that I thought her speech was very well written, and that the best way for her to improve is to improve her performance and delivery and focus on that kind of stuff. So that's a way that I can help use these notes to organize my evaluation into some sort of cohesive narrative that can be easily understood when I deliver it. And that brings us to step number 4, which is present. Step number 1 was prepare, then we had listen, organize, 4 is present. And this is relatively the easiest part. People think that what you really need to do in a speech evaluation is like have an understanding of what you're going to say before you come up and say it, and you spend your whole 20 minutes before you give your evaluation writing out what you're going to say. You shouldn't do that. It should be mostly impromptu, just using this graph in your notes. And the way that you want to structure your evaluation is you introduce the evaluation by talking about the purpose. So you frame it to the audience and to the speaker as, it is all centered around the purpose. Then you can go through any of these quadrants that you like. You can just ramble off all of your notes, and all of your notes should relate back to the speech purpose, right? No matter where they're coming from, if they're good or bad, if they're about the speech or about the delivery, your evaluation of them should only be that way because they relate somehow to the speech purpose. And so it'll all make sense, and then at the end of your evaluation, you will again talk about the speech purpose, whether or not it was achieved, whether, how it could be improved upon, all of that stuff. And that's, in summary, my system for how to evaluate. Prepare, listen, organize, present. So just plop yourself down and give a good evaluation. If you want to be a better communicator, if you want to help other people be better communicators, use the system. It'll be a little bit more organized, and hopefully you will all learn more from it.